Draw a picture of a bird day.
Oh, I already drew one, Andy, and later I plan on giving you the bird.
Oh, that's great. I always enjoy getting pictures of British women.
Who doesn't? I'm a big fan of Russell Brand.
Really? I'm kind of hoping Dudley Moore's ghost rises from the grave and beats the hell out of Russell Brand.
I'm hoping Liza Minnelli's does too.
You don't remake Arthur. The original was the Gielgud movie of the year.
On that note, we shall press on.
You're
Strange,
welcome.
sad man. Let's welcome our guest. Ooh, well, she puts the leg in allegation. I'm here tonight with criminal defense attorney Remy Spencer. She's cuter than a Care Bear eating a Smurf sandwich. Well, she's the doll from Townhall. Please welcome first-time guest, Townhall.com editor Katie Pavlich. She's so bright, the sun just installed Katie Pavlich panels. You know, like solar panels, except that's her name.
Like solar panels?
Yeah, there you go. And he's the commie pinko who makes you thinko. Filling in for Bill Schultz is writer John DeVore. Same type of voter, but with much less odor. And he's funnier than a belt made of clown lips. Sitting right next to me, the great Jesse Joyce, writer and comedian. His new comedy CD is called Pro Joyce. If hilarity were a steel drum, I'd bang him in Trinidad and Tobago. All right, let's go to a story, shall we? No pinch today. All right, so should young scholars carry revolvers or handle Smith & Wessons between academic lessons? Well, Arizona's adding guns to education after the House passed a bill allowing people to pack heat on state university and community college campuses. The state previously approved the measure after watering it down to forbid firearms inside campus buildings. Wusses. Supporters say the bill will help people defend themselves from campus shootings, but there are opponents, like State Rep Bob Robson, who argues that guns on campus are bad because students experience emotional highs and lows due to grades, exams, and other stuff. You know, like older dudes calling them late at night, drunk and lonely. Sorry, Jessica, but I know you were there. For more, let's go live to Marty, the gun safety macaw.
Bang! Okay, come back to life. Yeah.
Oh.
Just makes you wonder what else he's teaching the bird. That's the thought. Hey, Jesse, good to see you. Glad you dressed up for the program. One argument is that, you know, there's students, there's a lot of drinking and a lot of drugs. It's just a smart idea to add guns to the mix.
It's a terrible idea. Students make horrible decisions. They go to places like Fisty O'Hanlon's and drink grain alcohol out of PVC piping. Yeah. Like, college students are the kind of people that determine, like, you know what ping pong needs? The chance of getting hepatitis and competitive alcoholism.
What, now, this bar, Fisty O'Hanlon's?
Yeah, Fisty O'Hanlon's.
Yeah, O'Hanlon's Irish bar?
I made it up, but
okay,
yeah,
I was just wondering.
It's an amalgamation. It's kind of just, it's my people. I sort of just made up.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I might go there later if you'll invite me.
Sure.
Katie, welcome to the program. Good to see you. You are actually from Arizona.
Yes.
You went to a college in Arizona.
Yes, I did.
So what do you think of this? Good, bad, indifferent?
You know, I think what we're leaving out of this story is that these people who are allowed to carry concealed go through extensive training. And I don't know about you, but when I was in college, I didn't want to shoot anyone just because my grade was bad.
Yeah.
Not normal people don't usually do that. So
Yeah.
I'd say they kind of ripped the teeth out of this, actually. I mean, Texas had it right when they let them carry it actually into buildings, because shootings happen inside classrooms, not outside the door.
Yeah,
So
I guess maybe you could. Can you run out to your car and get the gun? Is that what the? I agree with you.
Apparently,
I
yeah.
think it's, you know, I think they should be allowed to have them where they are, because that's when you're able to use them. John, you hate America.
I do.
With every fiber of your being,
Yes.
but you also love guns.
I know. I'm more pro-gun rights than the liberal board.
Yes.
Being a spiritual and ethnic Texan.
Yes.
I support citizens' rights to protect themselves and arm themselves. But this is a bad idea. I agree with Jesse. I mean, college campuses are incubators of bad life choices. When I was in college, I was a sloppy, emotional swamp donkey, and I should not have been. You know, and I'll tell you what, if you're a student and you want to carry weapons and you want to exercise that right, you should enlist.
Yeah. Well, that leads me to my next question.
Yes.
The military is made up of a lot of young guys, and if you could trust them with guns, as long as they get the extensive training in college, why can't you trust a college student, and it might save lives? Remy, I go to you. You're looking divine tonight.
Thank you, Greg. And I agree with you. The military has a lot of young men and women who are trained and equipped to carry and use firearms. But I don't think that the theory holds true or it is a parallel to a university or a college life. I'm all for the right to possess a firearm. And in many instances, to
You do.
carry a firearm.
Yes.
I really do believe in that. But
You have a gun, don't you? You have a couple of guns. You have to. The people you deal with, the murderers you defend, you have to carry a gun, Remy. Why should you get to carry a gun and college students don't?
Let's be clear.
Hypocrite. Hypocrite.
I know how to shoot, but I probably would not be permitted in the state of New Jersey to have a carry permit. And, you know, every state is different how they allow their citizens to carry their weapons. I don't believe 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who are focused on their schoolwork, their socialization, alcohol.
I know we're making excuse. We think they're like hopeless kids. Back in the Old West, 18-year-olds were sheriffs.
Well,
I don't even have.
you have to be 21 to get a concealed permit, first of all.
See, I just made that thing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I went to college. I couldn't trust my own roommate not to urinate in my closet 3 times.
Yes,
What,
exactly.
Bill,
Three
your
occasions.
roommate?
I don't believe that he is in a position to assess a clear and present
That was the
danger.
sad thing because you often slept in the closet.
Yeah, that's exactly
that
what I
terrible
mean.
thing. Here's the thing. Okay,
Well, no,
let me make a point because we're getting a lot of anti-gun thing here, and I want to say one thing right now. If you teach students how to use guns, that's more valuable than gender studies, which is being taught at these colleges. I'd rather have my kid learn how to fire a sidearm than learn, how to deconstruct Shakespeare.
Then he should enlist.
Yeah.
Little Greg.
Why? Little Greg
hunchback
would not
Greg.
help anybody. Little
I
Greg
don't know.
would. Yeah.
When you hear about these rapists running around in college dorm rooms, I think they'd be less inclined to do so if they knew that girls were packing.
Also, no, I disagree. I know how to shoot. I
Yeah.
have shot, but I don't think that I am the right person to try and protect the entire class if there's a wild gunman on the loose.
You don't know. You might be the hero.
And part of the conversation too is whether or not those college years, those campus years, is really adulthood at this point, or like some
That is
kind of proto-adulthood.
a sad statement.
But look,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I know plenty of people who are 20 who are in the service, who are over in Afghanistan, who are much more adult than their counterparts at Wesleyan.
Yeah. Jesse, I got to ask you, when I hear the phrase gun-free zone, I think it tells people, come here and kill us. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let me put it this way. This building, and I've said this before, this building, CNN, NBC, all the people there that are pro-gun control, whatever, they're surrounded by armed security. Why are their lives any more important than Buffy, the Chi Psi Omega? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know either, but I think it's the same phenomenon when, for many years, when I went by a slow children sign, I assumed that I should probably
Slow down?
slow down.
Speed up.
Yes.
Well, because there is a mental capacity.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think,
With kids
I
in
think
this
that
community.
the difference is it's armed security guards. It's not undergraduate college students who are trying to defend themselves.
Yeah, but I think that people who go through the training are actually more competent than armed security guards, quite honestly.
And by the way, when you have a gun-free zone, crazy people ignore that. They're law-abiding people, the only people that agree with it.
That was what was funny about the representative who said, well, we don't think that people should be bringing guns into classrooms. Like, well, it's going to happen anyway if someone wants to do it.
We should compromise and put up signs that are like, everyone has machine guns.
There you go. We talked about that before. It was like,
No, 1 out of every 3 of us has a machine gun.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
one about every three.
That was like
And then you don't know.
It goes back to my original point weeks ago where I said, when I lived in Allentown, I would steal the alarm signs from other houses and put it on mine. That way, I didn't have to pay for the alarm, and I had the security.
I did that too.
Yeah. It worked for me. Didn't work for them, though. All right, from sidearms to slip-ups. Was he stereotyping blacks or just making chit-chat? Well, former Virginia Senator George Allen has apologized for assuming an African-American reporter played sports. Yep, earlier this week, Allen, who's running for office again, met with Craig Melvin from NBC's D.C. affiliate, and his conversational gambit didn't go well. What did he say? Well, Melvin later tweeted, "For the second time in 5 months, former governor and Senate candidate George Allen asks me, 'What position did you play?' I did not play a sport." Didn't play a sport? Nerd. Allen, who lost an election in 2006 after calling an Indian American macaca, responded on Twitter, "Sorry if I offended. I ask people a lot if they played sports. Grew up in a football family. Found sports banter good way to connect." Now, I've always felt sports banter is a good way to connect, too. I believe we have a clip of Andy and I connecting. Great news for your New York Metros. Baseball ball tosser Johnny Santiago used his changeover pitch during the starting match opener and managed to throw the flying balls past 5 bat holders without letting them strike at the orb.
All good points, Greg. Also, the Metro's remedy baseball ball throwers had a good match game, holding the Fitzwaters to 0 goals over the ultimate 3 frames.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
God, I love this sporting stuff. Who was that fat guy on the left? Bye, fat guy. John, I see you getting angry about this. Was he just making small talk, which I believe he was, or is he racist the way you think he is?
George Allen, he was a rising star. He just has issues. Look, I'll concede this. Maybe George Allen is just like a nice, casual racist. Like the sort of guy who, like, you know, you tell him that you're dating an African-American woman, and he's like, that's great, I support it. What's your favorite basketball team? Maybe he's just nice.
I don't know. I can't call him racist. Katie, do you think, are we just getting too touchy?
I'm not going to go as far as calling him a racist, but I would say, you know, open mouth, insert foot.
Yeah.
You know, doing it, having some friendly sports banter the first time, okay, but when he corrects you over and over again, you should probably stop.
Yeah.
Especially if you have it documented on Twitter.
I got to tell you, Remy, whether he was right or wrong, why do you put that on Twitter? Why don't you just go talk to the guy and say, hey, look, we're now living in a society where instead of saying, dude, I get it, I'm black, I'm not an athlete. Why do you have to go on Twitter?
You're absolutely right. It's childish. It's like he's going out of his way to embarrass him, trying to create an issue out of a non-issue. To me, this is like a bad second date, where the person doesn't remember any of the questions he asked and the issues you talked about on the first date. He just doesn't remember, which makes him probably a bad politician, because you got to remember these things.
Yeah. Jesse, when people come up and see you, and of course they assume that you're a roadie for Ozzy, does that bother you?
Often I get a road manager for Smash Mouth.
Much better than Ozzy.
Thanks. Yeah, and I appreciate. Yeah, you're giving me a hard time because I wore this, and you somehow found Pee Wee Herman's jacket.
It's true. It does look a little Pee Wee Herman-esque. What do you make of this story?
I think that he's a conversationalist. That's what I think. I don't understand. Like, who cares? Nobody cares about sports questions. Like you're not. It's like if you want to go like, hey, what did you think of the game? That's like a present tense.
Yeah.
But like, what do you really want to hear his little league conquests?
Yeah.
Like, why do you? He's not a professional athlete. You know that. You know he's a reporter. So like, obviously you were a mediocre baseball player when you were 13, maybe. So like, why does anybody want to know that? It's like, why don't you just ask him what medicines he takes? Or like, hey, can you tell me an excruciatingly mild story about some experience you had with airport security? Like, why would you do that?
People always ask me if I played basketball.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
But you did.
I did.
Yeah. Because you're tall.
Yeah, I guess, but
You're tall.
Do you think
how
you're African American?
those women's basketball players are.
Do you think George Allen would be upset if I met him and I asked him, like, so, what did you think of Robert E. Lee's beard?
Interesting.
Like, twist it, flip it. Would he be like, what?
Well, here's my theory
you think
about
I'm white
this.
and from Virginia?
Here's my
Probably asked
theory.
him who it was.
We live in a culture where everybody works out, and everybody in TV all work out. So he lives in a generation where people who are fit were athletes. We live in a generation where people who are fit don't play any sports. Nobody plays sports. They just go to the gym. So he sees this guy, he assumes, and by the way, all TV reporters generally are in good shape or else they lose their jobs. So he just sees him.
Like Andy Rooney.
Exactly. You proved my point by exception.
Yeah.
But does that make some sense? No?
It makes a sense.
You don't have to agree with me.
No, it makes sense.
You don't
in
have
like
to-
an alternate reality way. No, but it makes sense because you're right. I mean,
We're in a culture where everybody is in great shape. So it's not necessarily a mistake to assume that somebody plays a sport because you see a physique that's incredibly well sculpted and highly muscular. From assumptions to prescriptions. For many people with chronic pain, taking Vicodin and Percocet is the only way to make it through the day. But because opioids like these can also create a state of euphoria, or so I've read, they're also easily abused, never by me, of course. And now some doctors are asking their patients to sign pain contracts to help monitor the use of these meds. The docs hope these contracts will prevent patients from taking too many pills or giving or selling them to other people. So the agreements often require them to be drug tested to fill their scripts at one pharmacy or to refuse pain meds from other doctors. But others say these agreements invade patients' privacy and damage the trust found in a doctor-patient relationship, a point I believe we covered at our story meeting earlier today. It's amazing we get anything done, really. We have so much fun together, though. The work, there is fun in work, and there's work in fun. Katie, you're a well-known chronic abuser of OxyContin. I assume you hate these contracts.
Yeah, this is just ridiculous. Why would doctors want to not get sued, right?
Yeah.
I think they should switch this over to put the responsibility on the person who's getting the drugs by saying, sign a contract saying if I mix all of this or sell it, I'm not going to sue you and it'll be my fault. I'm going to go to jail, not the doctor.
I don't like the way this smells, Jesse.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like people who are illegally selling pharmaceuticals are already breaking the rules.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to really care about like breach of contract.
True.
Yeah.
Especially
True.
if it's not like a legal, it's just a
In a way, it's like a gun-free zone.
Yeah, well, it's like the mentality is that they're assuming that the people are like, I really want to continue to sell Percocet out of my van in strip club parking lots, but I did sign that little note promising Dr. Epstein I wouldn't, so what do we do?
You think it's all about docs, Remy, protecting
Yes,
themselves?
absolutely. It's about protecting the doctors in a very, lawsuit crazy kind of country. Look at Michael Jackson's doctor.
Yeah.
What the prosecutors are doing in California, they're blaming him for Michael Jackson's death because they're saying he knew that he was mixing drugs, as well as a number of other issues. But the point is, the doctors want to protect themselves. If patients are going to go doctor shopping, this is one way they can protect themselves.
John, is this just another example of addicts ruining the fun for recreational drug users like you and me?
One thing about this story is it shows how weird we are about the so-called war on drugs. Because like weed, man, it doesn't do anything to anybody. But prescription drug abuse is a big problem, partly because it's so socially acceptable, I think, and it's kind of it's spilling over. Doctors are trying to control a problem that maybe law enforcement isn't.
But if you take this logic, then why not food? Why doesn't, like, my local Chinese food guy force me to sign a contract in case, I become really fat? Or maybe the bartender. The bartender says, okay, you're gonna drink here, but you're gonna if you have like 5 shots and plow into a school in your car.
They already have it. Yeah. First of all, it's not a crime to be fat, but it is a crime to serve somebody at a bar when you know that they are intoxicated.
Right.
And we have laws in every state in this country that hold those establishments responsible for any injuries that are caused as a result of continuing to serve alcohol. I think
she really blew my metaphor out of the water.
Sorry.
You were funny.
I'd say it's a bit backwards. The bars are liable instead of the drinker, which I think is a little ridiculous.
Well, they both are. They both are.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a break, shall we? Sure, Greg. Coming up, murderers, thieves, and arsonists. Remy Spencer discusses her new book, My Dating Life. But first, hey, are those strippers? Ask my eyeballs. Yes, those are strippers, says my brain. Thanks, brain. No problem, eyeballs. That's what I call teamwork, says my spleen. Shut up, spleen, says my face.
Tonight's Tool for Tonight.
That was fun. All right, so at LA Weekly, a food writer named Jonathan Gold decided to review an Olive Garden. Now, the joke here, of course, is that he's a real food critic and would never be caught dead in something as corny or mainstream like the OG. Yep, he's slumming it culturally, like a theater critic reviewing 2.5 Men. But Gold didn't want to look like a total D-bag, so he claimed it was an April Fool's prank on a coworker, inviting her to the garden, pretending to do a review with no intention of eating there. See, the prank was making her think they were eating there. Hilarious. But alas, she got there first and secured a table, so his prank backfired, and the guy had to eat there. Yeah, this is all BS. He just wanted to write a column exercising his superiority over people who don't eat at edgy, organic Ethiopian cafes. He wanted to make fun of you, i.e. suburban types who actually eat at the Olive Garden. So he made fun of their cappuccino, the broken soup, and the leathery eggplant. He mocked the waiter, a cheap move, and exaggerated his cliched abject misery. He was so much better than all of them. Now, I can't remember the last time I ate at the Olive Garden. It's been a while. But I also can't remember the last time I saw someone like Gold go out of his way to bash an easy target just to feel better about himself. Oh, wait, I did it myself just now. Thank you, Jonathan Gold. You are tonight's tool.
Tonight's Tool for Tonight.
Love it.
I think the opener is the best. Yeah, it is a keeper. Yeah. Jesse, when you read his review, did you want to just reach in and grab him and crush his face?
I hate this guy so much. Oh my God, he's like the Dana Vachon of the culinary world. This dude is just such a pretentious douche. Like the fact that there's a point in his article where he says that he experienced genuine outrage because his producer told him to hold off on noodles for a bit. Like this guy, like, and you know, he's like, it's like a funny prank. We're gonna pretend we're gonna go to the Olive Garden.
Yeah.
Like, gotcha. You know, like, I mean, he just sat there and twisted his soul patch. I'm sure, and just like, I'm so devilishly wicked. You know, like, I hate this guy. He needs to spend some time.
Terrible. John,
Yes.
aren't you like me, spend a lot of time in magazines. Aren't all food critics scam artists?
Well, here's the thing about food, is that it's future poop.
Yeah.
And so for many of us, we just want to eat it, get it in. You know, I just want to get it in my face.
Yes.
But it's just, you know, lighten up. That's the thing about food critics, is that they have to, they just have to like pretend like it's just they're so fancy.
Yeah.
You know?
Remy, isn't an attack on Olive Garden an attack on Italian Americans? Come on, let's call him a racist. I want you to call him a racist.
I'm not
Everybody's family there.
I'm going to call him a snob. That's what I'm going to call him. A snob with really no reason or entitlement to feel so superior to anyone else.
Yeah.
I used to waitress when I was in college at a restaurant very much like the Olive Garden. It's a wonderful family establishment.
Cheetahs?
She said family.
Oh, Hooters. Hooters?
No.
She said family.
Okay.
Thank you
Hey,
very
Katie, isn't this the worst kind of conformity? An attack on something simply because other people like it? It's like, you know, it's like making fun of Walmart or Applebee's, both great establishments. Send me free coupons.
Yeah.
So all this guy's doing is he's just shooting at a big fat target when in fact he's the fat
I think
target.
he's just bitter because most people like Olive Garden over floofy food that he goes to eat.
Yeah.
So I think he's just bitter.
I think he got dumped by a woman who worked at the Olive Garden.
Or that, yeah.
Or he got dumped at the
Or
Olive
he got
Garden.
fired,
Yeah,
he got fired from Olive Garden.
He was actually beaten by a bottomless breadstick. I don't know if that's possible, but it sounds actually kind of arousing. All right. Hey, do you have a comment on the show? Email us. It's redeye@foxnews.com. Do you have a suggestion for Tool for tonight? Because if you do, I want you to keep it to yourself. No, send it to me. Leave a voicemail on my direct line, 212-462-5050. Still to come, the halftime report from TV's Andy Levy. A Tool. He is.
Tonight's halftime report is sponsored by yawning, the act of opening the mouth wide with a deep inhalation, usually involuntarily from drowsiness, fatigue, or boredom. Thanks, yawning.
Welcome back. Let's find out if we've got anything wrong so far. For that, we go to TV's Andy Levy. So, Andy, got to tell you, I got the call.
You got the call?
Yep, I got the call. I am moving to 5 p.m.
No kidding.
Yep, unfortunately, it's just going to be me, Andy.
Really?
Yep, they renamed the show the Awesome Greg Gutfeld Hour of Awesome Thoughts.
Wow.
Yep, and I got my own dressing room. I got an assistant, a private car, and I got use of the sauna.
That's great news, Greg. So, who called you?
A guy from the second floor.
That's where all the execs are. Who was it?
I'm not really sure.
You're not really sure?
Well, he never gave his name.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. Did the call sound like it was coming from really far away?
Well, kind of, I guess. Probably just some bad cell phone reception, AT&T, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's it. I'm sure it wasn't somebody from the show who's on vacation maybe punking you.
That son of a...
No, I'm sure that wasn't it.
We'll just start the halftime report.
Yeah. Well. You all right?
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'm pretending as though the phone call was real. Mm-hmm. Therefore, the pain has not touched me yet.
Okay. Arizona lawmakers okay bill allowing guns on college campuses. Jesse, you said this is a terrible idea because students make terrible decisions. Then you said they go to places like Fisty O'Hanlon's and drink grain alcohol out of PVC pipes. Make up your mind. Do they make terrible decisions or do they make awesome decisions?
I guess you're right. It depends on your perspective.
Right.
By the way, great acting job in that little sketch.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah. Yep.
I thought we did a fantastic job.
I thought we did too.
Yes.
Like the King's Speech.
Yes. Better than the King's Speech.
You know what? It was better than the
movie.
King's Speech because we didn't have speech defects.
Yes. That's a terrible movie.
Katie, you said when you were in college you didn't want to shoot anyone because your grade was bad. But I noticed your left eye kind of fluttered when you said that. In the business, we call that a tell.
Oh, well, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to keep that to myself.
All right. John, you said if you want to be a student and you want to carry a gun, then enlist.
Yes.
All right. How about ROTC?
I'm all for ROTC.
Okay.
Absolutely. Except on college campuses.
You're all for ROTC, but you don't want them on college campuses.
Right. Makes sense.
You know what I like doing?
They're everywhere else.
ROTC?
Look, if you want to be a Marine or you want to enlist in the Army, it's not that hard to find.
Yeah, you just said you like ROTC, but you don't want it on college campuses.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right, ROTC sort of has to be on college campuses.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
Really?
Is that how you get onto ROTC?
Yeah.
There's not a ROTC store?
He was in
You know, it's interesting. At my college, I started the every Friday we'd have board games with them. We called it Yahtzee with ROTC. Really quite fun.
Wait. So this quick question: you're a Columbia student, okay? You want to join the Army?
Right.
ROTC's not on your campus.
Right.
You can't join ROTC.
No, well, I think they just voted to bring it back, but when it wasn't there, you were still allowed to enroll in ROTC, and you could take the classes somewhere else, NYU, I think.
Okay, thank
But
you.
ROTC is tied to a college.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm illegal.
All right. Yeah.
At least you're honest.
Jesse, you said you couldn't trust your roommate not to urinate in the closet, and yet you lived alone.
Yeah, I know. my left eye fluttered every time I did
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
By the way, really sincere, good job in that banter between
Thanks, Jesse.
you two.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
No, not me. It was him and John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesse, by the way, you were great in that the Greg Giraldo, the Comedy Central special.
Oh,
Nice job.
Oh, look at that. You really are being sincere tonight. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Remy, are you opposed to this whole thing because you only want your prospective clients to have guns?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay.
I just don't think college students should be carrying guns to classes, period.
Well, just because you think
Weirdo.
that doesn't mean you're right.
What gives you the right to think that? What gives you the right to think that?
Because I see
Not on my show.
Well, you asked me the question.
Yeah. Don't pull that crap at 5 p.m. George Allen asks, African American reporter, what position did you play? John, you're pretty certain this was racist?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A teeny bit. George Allen strikes me as a guy who just, has a couple, like an uncle. I had an uncle.
Sure.
He gets a couple beers.
Sure.
And, just
Right.
a little racist.
You're familiar with a guy named Ryan Nobles?
No, tell me.
He's a reporter and anchor for NBC 12 in Richmond, Virginia. He tweeted, quote, I think it's worth pointing out that George Allen often asks me what position I played in sports as well. Guess what color he is?
Is this a trap?
You tell me.
He's white.
He is white.
You minx.
Case closed.
Racism solved.
Yes.
We're like racist detectives. Wait, that was. We're racial detectives.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should probably just move on from this.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Remy, I actually agree with you. The worst part of this is that Alan didn't remember that he'd asked Craig Melvin the same question 5 months earlier. That's like the worst thing for a politician.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You should agree. I was agreeing with what you said.
I know, and I agree with that.
Okay, good.
Lame to do it on Twitter. I'm sorry.
Pain contracts. Jesse, you said the people who are selling prescription meds on the street are already breaking the law, so these contracts aren't going to be any help. But if the people selling are users, but they're also selling because they know it's going to be really easy for them to get more, and then if they have to sign these contracts and suddenly it's not so easy for them to get more, maybe it will stop them from selling.
That's entirely. Yeah, I was really going for the joke, but you showed me.
Not on
good
my
job
show.
showing me
Not
just
on
now.
my show.
That'd be great if he was in your audience and when you tell a joke, he explains to you how unrealistic the joke punchline is in real life.
You can't come.
Yeah. LA Weekly food critic reviews Olive Garden. Greg, you mentioned that food critic Jonathan Gold took a shot at the waiter.
Yeah.
In fact, what he said was that the waiter filled his wine glass to the rim and then said, "That'll do ya."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just not how it's done, old boy.
I know.
Yeah. Jesse, cheap shot at Dana Vachon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And just lastly, Michael, can we put up, do we have the picture of that critic, Jonathan Gold? It's weird. He doesn't look like a D-bag.
Does it?
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah. Looks like the kind of guy you would just, want to have like a PBR with or something.
Yeah.
I think you're confusing D-bags with wizards.
Yeah.
Easy to do, actually.
Yes.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
That's happened a few times on my weekends.
True story. A lot of wizards are D-bags.
No, I had no idea.
You know a lot of wizards, Andy?
Yes, a lot of people don't know that about them. They think they're all cool with their cloaks and their wands. And they're
Are you a
D-bags.
wizard?
I myself am not a wizard.
That's sad.
I know.
I wish you were.
I wish I were too.
He dresses his cats up as little wizards. Little hats. Hey, are we just going to hang out in these boxes forever, or are we going to take a break?
Exciting.
I like the new boxes.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You can take them home with you.
We look like, the Brady Bunch.
I get a little claustrophobic, I gotta tell you.
All right. Go away then. Coming up, should we eat stupid people? We discuss Jesse Joyce's new book, Let's Eat Stupid People, after the break. But first, oh, look, Aunt Edna took off her shirt and she's dancing. Aunt Edna, you're embarrassing yourself. Is throwing all your dough all over the flow a real thing? Yo, one player says, faux show. Wow. See, those urban classes are totally paying off. Yes, I speak of the act of making it rain, which in the hip-hop community describes the act of throwing money up in the air at strip clubs. In his new book, author Ben Westhoff describes how he set out to see if this really exists. Turns out it does happen, and it's not even that expensive. During a visit to a Texas strip club, Westhoff explains, quote, "Guys all over the room joined in, and soon money was everywhere. When the rainmakers were tapped out, the ladies scooped the cash into large red dish pans. Upon inspection, I saw that folks were tossing ones." Let's discuss this sexy story in the
Lightning round. Lightning round.
Jesse likes that.
Yeah. Jesse, do you think this issue was ripe for this kind of research? Somebody had to do this, correct?
Why did they do an investigative journalism piece on the fact that rappers are irresponsible with money? Lil Wayne has $150,000 of diamonds in his teeth. Like, if your annual teeth cleaning involves a gemologist and a pawn shop, then your financial accountant should be able to punch you in the face.
It's great. The idea, though, it's a great idea for a book. It's like taking every lyric or from any kind of cliche from a song and trying to figure out if it's real. You know, could you imagine how much time you'd be spending on a Queen song?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Katie, I don't even know what I just meant there. How will this news change your life?
I think this gives the meaning of dirty money a whole new meaning.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the original meaning?
I don't know, but it's definitely changed now. But these are the same guys who are like, don't mess with my money. So I don't think they're out there throwing their $100 bills. I
That
think
is
it's
true.
a myth.
John, as a former stripper, did anyone ever make it rain while you were dancing?
More pee. They made it pee.
Made it spring.
Quality over quantity.
There you go. Hey, Remy, shouldn't we be making it rain at other places besides strip clubs, like Arby's or Denny's, where you enjoy the service of the person there and you just throw money on them? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be very nice. I've already told you I was a former waitress. It would have been great if people threw money at me.
Yes.
Incidentally, it does seem like a giant finger to people who live in the Sudan, where it doesn't rain.
Yes. Yeah.
First of all, they don't get actual rain, and there's these just d-bags in America who are throwing cash around.
Yeah, calling it rain.
It's like it's raining.
Oh, man.
I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
I think if you use that perspective, we could probably get it banned. All right, next topic. Last night on American Idol, the best show on television, they continued its aging rocker fetish, this time with 63-year-old grandmother Iggy Pop. His rendition of Real Wild Child may have been my least favorite shirtless performance ever.
Wild one, wild one, wild one.
Jesse?
Yep.
Watching old dudes who can who move their bodies in very strange ways. It's quite arresting, isn't it?
That's what Bill's doing right now. Yeah, you know, seeing Iggy Pop and Steven Tyler right there together, like, it kind of like made me think, like, I realized like there's like a pattern to what happens in the life of a rock star. It's like you're cool, and then you're like not cool, and then you're kind of like ironically hip, and then you're Joan Rivers.
Yes, you become an Upper East Side woman who should wear scarves and walks a dog. But I mean, okay, Katie, 62 years old. I love Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
I grew up on Iggy Pop. But I don't, now he's like Iggy Grandpop.
Well, this guy's so old that I don't know who he is, but he's 62. Shouldn't he be out mowing his lawn instead?
That's a good point. You know, the interesting thing is a lot of people probably didn't know who he was.
No, right. And he's selling albums right now. I mean,
that's
what,
true.
That's what's happening. I mean, he was once a genuine music legend, but now he's like the rock and roll equivalent of Mickey Mouse. I mean, he's a man in a suit selling magic.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to say, he went for you. He did about 20 or 30 years of making no money. And then all of a sudden, now he's a legend. They're buying his back catalog. And Lust for Life.
And that's what it is. It was a commercial.
But he should have done Lust for Life, the great one. Not that song. Remy, in the green room, you told me his performance was exceptionally sexy.
I said no such thing. You know, millions of people are banning the show because somebody got thrown off. Pia, a very talented young woman, got thrown off. This is the reason I am I'm banning American Idol in my house.
Well, you know what? Because you're banning in your house, I'm turning on 2 TVs with it on. To cancel out your banning, because I'm such a faithful watcher of American Idol. I enjoy that show immensely. Did I say how much I enjoy it? Immensely. I'm sad. I saw Iggy Pop in 1980, and he was something else. That's
a long time ago.
That's 31 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to be racist here and say that white boys can't dance.
Well, maybe so.
Clearly
he could dance at some point. One point.
Not
Who
at
cares?
62.
All right. So if you haven't heard the new Red Eye podcast, then you are missing out on possibly the greatest thing on God's green earth. To catch them, go to foxnewsradio.com. See that down there? That's where you go. And then you click on Red Eye. It's really that easy. Or is it? Who cares? Now it's time for something we like to call our McCotter moment.
McCotter moment.
Now, you may know Thaddeus McCotter as the always bubbly Red Eye guest, or from his Food Network show, which is great. But he's also a congressman, and on Friday he spoke on the House floor about the budget battle.
I'd like to start, Mr. Speaker, by thanking my Democratic colleagues this morning for disabusing me of an affliction. When I woke up, I found that I had a hankering to listen to Led Zeppelin, and I couldn't figure out why. This has happened before. So I was walking over here, and I'm like, wow, is it because there's been a communication breakdown between the parties? It's possible. It's possible. I said, is it because one of the nice senators is wearing a cashmere sweater? It's possible. But now I was sitting here today that I realized why I wanted to listen to the melodious strains of Page and Plant, Jones and John Bonham. It's because for the Democratic Party, the song remains the same.
Wow, he knows how to frame a debate, don't you think?
I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Zeppelin myself. Love their album, Highway to Hell.
What?
Ooh.
So last night I told you how much I enjoy a good rutabaga. Whatever the hell I said, I don't know. But I also love charity. So let's get to the latest piece of art. This is called Volleyball Vixen from Planet Horn. It's based on someone I met a long time ago. We don't talk anymore. Actually, we never talked. It was purely physical. We nearly destroyed each other. Well, the winning bid comes from John Kavanaugh from Chicago, Illinois, who offers $1,255 for the artwork, beating his own previous bid of $1,000. Congrats, John. Send me the check, made out to Taps, and you will get the work of art. Now, here's the new art. I call it Hand Off to Horn. It's based on the star player of the Pluto State Unis, Sassafras Rainbow. In one game, he scored 400 touchdowns simply by lulling the other team to sleep with his magical roofie dust. He later experienced a career-ending injury, ending up addicted to pixie water, and died destitute, the target of abuse from a few strung-out Keebler elves. It's a beautiful picture. You have till Friday to get your bid in, so email your offer to redeye@foxnews.com to be considered. And as you know, all this money goes to TAPS, a nonprofit group that provides grief counseling and support programs to families of fallen soldiers. You can go to taps.org to learn more about the organization. But let's not forget the real message here. It's not about charity. It's about waitresses letting me have free pie at restaurants. Hey, you're the guy that does all that stuff for charity. Yeah, it's me, darling. Would you like some free pie, Mr. Gutfeld? Sure, why not? I get off at 11, Mr. Gutfeld. Sorry, I'm married. Then I will kill myself. You're the only thing I live for. Well, I understand, and that's your choice. Happy ending for everybody. We'll close things out with the post-game wrap-up. From TV's Andy Levy. To see clips of recent shows, go to foxnews.com/red-eye. A few things before we go. You can catch me on Huckabee Saturday, actually the show, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not actually on top of Huckabee. That would be weird. And don't forget to watch us Saturday at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific. A brand new Red Eye returns Monday. Guests include next week Diane Macedo, Jedediah Bula, Mike Baker, and Chris Cotter. Woo. Back to TV's Andy Levy for the postgame wrap-up.
Thanks, Greg. Hey, Jess, where are you going to be next week?
I am doing the Comedy Cafe in Milwaukee, the 14th through the 16th.
Excellent.
Comedy Cafe.
Right.
Greg's theory was
Could
that
be wackier.
Greg's theory was that the Comedy Cafe did not serve alcohol.
No, they do.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And,
Comedy Cafe.
and comedy. They
Yeah.
serve both.
Most of Greg's theories are bull.
Comedy Cafe.
Katie, I hear you have a cover story coming out at some magazine or other. Oh.
Yeah, cover story for Townhall magazine about the one and only Sarah Palin and whether she'll run for president, pros, cons, and who's for and against her.
All right. Is she going to run?
We don't know. That's the
okay.
big question, right?
No, I thought maybe you were going to answer it.
I'm not. No, it's just a big piece on whether she should or not. It's
big
not whether
question.
she will.
Big question is what I'm eating after the show.
Yeah.
Free
Caribou.
Noodles and gravy.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Remy, you going to be on Fox Business next week?
I will, Andy. Thanks for asking. I'm excited. I'll be on the Willis Report on Fox Business News or Fox Business Network on Tuesday of next week.
Okay, that's a fun show.
It is a fun show. I love Jerry.
Yep, she's great.
And you're great on it too, Andy.
Oh, thank
Shut
you.
up!
Remy, I agree with you.
Greg is just jealous.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. Hey, Johnny, can you remind me what your Twitter handle is so I can unfollow you?
Yes, absolutely. It's at twitter.com/John DeVore.
Oh, okay,
Do
cool.
it.
That's easy enough. What are you writing these days?
Oh, all kinds of dumb things. I wrote 1,000 words on condiments the other day.
Did you?
It's on my Twitter feed.
Pro or con?
The condiments I hate, like Miracle Whip.
How can you hate Miracle Whip?
It's not mayo. It's emasculated mayo.
But you know what? They don't make any pretense to being mayo. That's why they're called Miracle Whip. They're not called Mayo Whip.
It's not a miracle.
It is a. Excuse me. It's an amazing. Miracle Whip is a miracle.
You know what? Between your